Hey, Mavericks fans, we got a juicy story coming up, so stay with us here. But first, turn on those notifications after you subscribe because I get a lot of DMs from people saying, hey, I'm subscribed, but I missed the last video. Well, it's probably because you didn't hit that notification bell, because what that does is if you have that turned on, you will get notified on your phone, tablet, etc. when we publish a video. And if you're subscribed only, you may not get that. So turn on those notifications after you subscribe. I think only like 20% of you guys have noties turned on. That number is way too low. We want you guys to make sure you are always in the loop with the latest Mavericks news and rumors. You're watching Dallas Mavericks Today. I am Harrison Graham from Chat Sports. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. Bronny and LeBron, could they be making their way to Dallas here in a couple of years? Well, let's talk about it here on today's show. Let's kind of take a circle back to the All-Star break when LeBron really kind of went down, a can of worms, if you will, talking about his future. And he did mention saying he does want to play with his son. He says, quote, my last year will be played with my son. Wherever Bronny is at, that's where I'll be. I would do whatever it takes to play with my son for 1 year. It's not about the money at that point. Now, I do want to throw this disclaimer before we get into the Mavs side of this with Luka as well. LeBron didn't necessarily say his last year would be Bronny's first year, so I do think we should get that out there. But here's what we know. Well, a couple of things. LeBron and Luka get along. LeBron was the player Luka looked up to growing up in Europe and becoming a professional basketball player in his own right. They've spoken glowingly of each other over the years in the past. I think a couple of years, LeBron has mentioned Luka's name by name several times and talking about great young players in this league and players he would like to play with. So that makes a lot of sense in terms of, hey, like they get along, like they would like to play with each other. Obviously, there's a lot of factors that go into it. Now, as far as like the Bronny side of it, because I do think you're going to see in the next year and a half, teams are going to start evaluating this kid. Like, is he worth drafting? If that means we could get LeBron, because there's some questions. Is he even an NBA caliber player? He's a high-rated 4-star. He's got one more year of high school after this year, and then he would have to either go the college route overseas or play for the G League Ignite for a season before being draft eligible in 2024. But I'll just say this. If LeBron James, when his son is draft eligible, is still even a top 10 or 15 player, which make no mistake, he's still easily top 5. He is still that good. Then I think some teams will start to consider this. Now, I'm not saying they'll draft Bronny in the top 5 if he's not even a first-round talent, which, time will tell. We'll see how he develops. But I do think what if the Mavs are sitting there at 25 and they're like, there's no sure things in the NBA draft, especially this low. If we draft Bronny, though, and can get LeBron for a year or two, that might be worth it. Look, it's obviously a lot of hypothetical, and a lot of it does start with how Bronny develops. He's a good prospect. He's not considered a great one yet, though. He's got a ways to go to be a guy that could even be one and done after college or the G League, etc., to make his way to the NBA. But this will be a story worth monitoring over the next 12 to 18 months. Now, here's what Mark Cuban had to say. He hopped on Pardon My Take with Big Cat and PMT, and they asked him about this. Hey, would you draft Bronny to get LeBron? He said, I don't know. It depends on circumstances and how good Bronny is. Would I just burn a second-round pick, hypothetically, he said, just to burn it? Probably not. And again, we have this guy named Luka who is really, really good. And so it would really depend on the team that we have around him. Let me just say this, Mark Cuban. You drafted Satnam Singh in the second round. That was the definition of throwing away a pick. Now, he had good business reasons for doing that. He was, I believe at the time, the first Indian player drafted in NBA history, producer Coop. So he did that, but his reason was like, we just got a billion more Mavs fans. So, hey, global business, economic reach, I understood that side of it. But don't act like, you wouldn't throw a second-round pick if that didn't mean you got some benefit. If the benefit is LeBron, then you bet your ass you would do it, Mark Cuban. I don't believe that for a second when you drafted Satnam Singh just a handful of years ago for a second-tier reason. This second-tier reason would be getting one of, if not the greatest player of all time. Would you draft Bronny if that meant you got LeBron for at least one season? Type D for draft him, type P for pass. If it got me LeBron for a year or two, if I knew that going in, I would absolutely do it. Let's get you caught up on Tim Hardaway, the latest around him. It's been a little quiet during his injury recovery, but we got an update yesterday from Callie Kaplan of the Dallas Morning News. Basically, the update is that there's really no update. He's still recovering. There's no timetable for his return. He's, 5 weeks removed from surgery, somewhere in that range, Coop? Yeah, he's shaking his head yes. They said initially 10 weeks they were hoping would be the recovery, so that would put it, really right at the start of the playoffs in mid-April. So we'll see if he has a chance to come back. But the fact that there's no timetable currently, that doesn't, instill a lot of confidence in me. There's a chance he could return, but I'll be honest, I'm not sure, and I'm not super confident that he will return this year. I'd like to see it happen, even if it was just in a limited role in the playoffs off the bench and, 15, 20 minutes a game. I think he could certainly help. The good news is Spencer Dinwiddie has kind of filled that void and then some. Something he does that Hardaway doesn't is create. And create often. Hardaway can do a little bit of that, but he's more of a, spot up, catch and shoot, a little ISO guy, whereas Dinwiddie can create for the entire offense. And he's done a really good job of coming in here, getting to the basket, making shots, and actually improving his, three-point percentage since he's been in Dallas as well. So that's the good news. But if you got Hardaway next to him off the bench, that would be even better because you'd have Dinwiddie, Hardaway, Green, Kleber, and Bertans. I mean, that's a pretty formidable second unit. You could do much worse. You could do a lot worse than that if you are Dallas. So, we'll continue to monitor Hardaway's status. Maybe we get an update in the middle of March and see if he's closer. But for now, still strictly on the recovery process for Tim Hardaway. I do think this bench unit is pretty good if you have Tim Hardaway. I really do, because if Dinwiddie keeps playing like this, that's a sixth-man type of guy, like sixth-man of the year type of candidate if he's playing at this level. We know Tim Hardaway is a sixth-man type of player as well that could be a finalist for that type of award. Green's improved this year. I don't love Kleber, but I like him off the bench. Bertans can be a flamethrower. That's a decent bench unit. There's not really a glaring weakness there if Hardaway were to come back. So what do you think? Will he play again this year? Type Y for yes. Type in for no. Will we see Tim Hardaway again this season? Again, I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how the next couple of weeks go. Be sure to hit that subscribe button here on Dallas Mavericks Today. The link is right there, youtube.com/MavsTV if you want to share that with all of your fellow MFFLs. There's some chatter in the office. We might do some playoff watch parties, so stay tuned for that. We get more subscribers. We'll certainly get to do those type of things, and they're a good time because we do play-by-play, we drink beers, and we watch the playoffs. Who has it better than that? So youtube.com/MavsTV. Speaking of a game, how about the next game? Tonight against the Golden State Warriors. Can the Mavs do it for the second time in a week? They've caught Golden State at a good time here. Listen, the Warriors have not been playing well for about 3 weeks now, to be frank. They're not even really in the mix for the number 1 seed. It's a much better chance that they fall to the 3 seed behind Memphis than catch Phoenix for that top seed. Dallas trying to make a push for a top 4 seed to jump Utah. Another opportunity to gain a game tonight. We just saw them beat Golden State 107-101 due to that furious fourth quarter comeback, thanks in large part to Spencer Dinwiddie, who we, of course, were just talking about. Luka Doncic obviously played well also in that game, but we'll get to see if they can do it again tonight. This one, AAC tonight? Yeah, American Airlines Center, so Mavs get them at home for this one. Injury notes, Trey Burke, Frank Ntilikina questionable, no Marquise Chris, obviously Hardaway still out, as is Theo Pinson, but all the key guys should be ready to rock and roll for tonight's matchup. So who you got? Type MFFL for the Mavs, type GSW for the Golden State Warriors. Hopefully Dallas able to get it done, and hey, I'll be watching this one, and we might even talk about it on tomorrow's show here on Dallas Mavericks Today.